So what if you could win a battle before it even really starts? Today, we're diving into this incredible principle from Sun Tzu's Art of War. It's all about seizing control, dictating the terms of the fight way before a single arrow is even fired. To really get this, we've got to travel back in time, way back to the 3rd century BC in ancient China. Okay, picture this. The city of Yizhu is under siege by the super powerful Qin army. So the king of Zhao calls in his best general, a guy named Zhao She, to go save the day. But what Zhao She does next, well, it's just plain weird. Instead of rushing to the rescue, Zhao She marches his army just about 10 miles from the capital, and then he just stops. He tells his men to start digging in, building forts, basically making it look like he is terrified to move. To anyone watching, it looked like he was a total coward. And it gets even more extreme from there. He lays down this iron-fisted rule. He even executes one of his own soldiers just for suggesting a faster way to get to the city. I mean, this wasn't just being cautious. This was a performance. But you have to wonder, who was he performing for? What was he really up to? The answer to this whole puzzle is hidden in a core principle from Sun Tzu's Art of War. And it's a concept that completely changes how you think about mastering not just a battlefield, but pretty much any competitive situation you can imagine. Sun Tzu packs so much wisdom into this one line. He says, "Whoever is first in the field and awaits the coming of the enemy will be fresh for the fight. Whoever is second will arrive exhausted." But the real kicker is the last part. The clever combatant imposes his will on the enemy, but does not allow the enemy's will to be imposed on him. This phrase right here, ji ren or bu ji yu ren, that's the heart of the whole strategy. It's about making the enemy dance to your tune. You get to decide the when, the where, and the how. You become the cause, and they're just reacting to you. It's simple, really. You control them, they don't control you. And look at the difference here. It's night and day. When you're in control, you're proactive, you're calm, you're decisive. But when you're being controlled, you're always reacting, you're exhausted, and you're vulnerable. So let's jump back to our story and see how General Zhao She used this idea to absolutely devastating effect. All right, so with Sun Tzu's wisdom in our back pocket, Zhao She's 28-day camping trip suddenly doesn't look like fear anymore, does it? It looks like a masterfully set trap. He wasn't running from a fight, he was creating the perfect conditions for one. For 28 days, he was an actor on a stage, carefully building this false reality. He created the perfect illusion of a weak, terrified army. He even let a Qin spy into his camp, basically gave him a tour of all the fear, and then sent him on his way. But the second that spy was gone, the show was over. Zhao She's army went on this brutal, non-stop march, covering a week's journey in just 2 days. And the deception? It worked perfectly. The Qin commander got the spy's report, probably had a good laugh, and just completely dismissed the Zhao army as a threat. His troops got complacent, thinking the city was already theirs. They had absolutely no idea what was about to hit them. And right here, this is where the genius of the plan unfolds. By the time the overconfident Qin army figured out what was happening, it was way, way too late. They had been completely and totally outmaneuvered. So let's break down this masterpiece. First, he faked being weak for 28 days, making the enemy feel safe and secure. Second, he used their own spy to feed them lies, locking in that illusion. Third, with that lightning-fast march, he suddenly flipped the whole script and seized the initiative. And finally, he struck from a position of strength. He got to EU first, took the high ground, and set an ambush. The Qin army, totally surprised, exhausted, and confused, had to fight an uphill battle against a fresh, prepared enemy. The result? A total victory for Zhao She. The siege was broken. Now, this is way more than just a cool ancient war story. This principle of controlling, not being controlled, is absolutely timeless. Whether you're in a boardroom, in a negotiation, or just working on a personal goal, the exact same dynamics are at play. So how can you actually use this today? Well, just like Zhao She, you build your strengths behind the scenes. You prepare your plans quietly. Think about a tech startup working in secret. They don't announce their big product until it's already polished and ready to take over the market. They create the perfect conditions for success long before they launch, forcing all their competitors to react to them on their terms. This is how you spot their weaknesses, 避虚击虚, and turn a situation where you might feel passive into a huge proactive win. So, the question I want to leave you with is this. Where in your life are you just reacting to things? showing up to the fight already exhausted? And how can you start to be the one who arrives first, fresh, prepared, and ready to impose your will? Remember, the true art of control always begins long before the battle is ever joined.